young Tarnish, you wish to become a crazed greatsword-wielding pyromaniac who breaks boss stances in 3 hits, do you? Well, luckily, I've created a guide on how to grab all the necessary starting items for you. Here's a quick idea of where to pick up the Ashes of War if you're a high level and you just want to try them for yourself. The Fire of Redmane's Ash of War is located here. Kill the Scarab and collect it, easy as that. The Fire Strike Ash of War is located over here. Follow the castle walls around the outside and kill the Scarab located here. If you're starting a new character and you want to follow the walkthrough, then enjoy the video. I'm going to show you how to get all the weapons, the Ashes of War and the runes to get up to like level 50 or 60 within a couple of hours. So let's do it. Okay, I'm going to start off as a Wretch, simply because everything's nice at level 10 and we are level 1. This makes it easier to min-max your stats later on in the game. So if you change your mind and you want to do a different build, you're not stuck with a really high strength level or really high faith level, you know, everything's just nice at level 10. So suicide to the first boss, come out to Limgrave, and then we're going to head up to the Church of Ely. Make sure you get the grace here, because I seem to forget every single time I do a video with a new character. Pick up the Smithing Stone one, and then we're going to head north, east, over to the ruins. Grab the map from here and then head north and rest at the Grace, and then Melena's going to come and give us Torrent. Once we've got Torrent, put him in an accessible slot of your choosing, because we're going to use him a lot to get around the map. First place we're going to go is really far south. We're going to go all the way to the south of the lake, to the bottom part of the map. Make sure you grab the Grace on the way. When you cross over this bridge, watch out for the ballista because it can one-shot you. Pick up this Grace and continue heading south. We need to pick up the weapon in this carriage here. It's called the Morning Star. It's got bleed damage, and this is what we're going to use to kill a dragon later for some runes. Come down here and we're going to grab ourselves a shield. It has a really nice status effect. It makes our stamina recharge faster. Once we grab the shield, teleport back to the ruins where we got Torrent and head west. Make sure you pick up the golden seed here and then continue to the next grey site. Make sure you grab the Stone Sword key here because we're going to use it in a second, and then exhaust all the dialogue with Rodrika. Now there's a couple of items in this area and it's really hard to get lost, so if you come out of the shack and head to the right, you're going to find a Smithing Stone 1 here. If you go back where we just came from and head north, we're going to find a crystal seed for our physic flask, and this one actually increases our strength, which is good because we're a strength build. So we're going to grab this one here. Then we need to get to the War Master's shack, so we need to head back down where we came from, take a left and follow this path until you see the Site of Grace. Rest at the Site of Grace here, and then we're going to continue north. Go up the ridge, and then we're going to jump down onto the ruins below us, and we're going to pick up a really nice weapon. This is the Lance. It's really good for PvE and PvP. It's got awesome roll catching abilities, and it's got brilliant range and a really good moveset. So in the chest just below us, you're going to find a shield that blocks 100% of physical damage, which is nice depending on your play style, so we're going to grab that as well. Then we're going to go south to where all these giants are roaming about, and we're just going to stand like an idiot in front of this statue. The giant's going to run over and smash the statue whilst trying to hit us. He's going to allow us to loot the items inside, which is 5 smithing stone 1s and a smithing stone 2, which is really nice for those early game upgrades. Next we're going to run north, back to where we came from. And then we're going to take a right and head east to the bridge, grab the grey site here, and then continue going east. There's another smithing stone 1 on the bridge here as well, which will help us out later. So we'll come down into this Sun Ruins area called the Summon Water Village. You want to pick up the grace here, and then we're going to go grab a talisman. So use the stone sword key that we just picked up to open the fog wall here, and then run down and loot the chest. There's no aggressive enemies in here, so you're all good. This talisman also increases the rate that our stamina regenerates along with the shield, so it's going to be a really nice recovery speed, and that's good for a strength build. Run east, and we're going to head into the Caelid red area. Grab the grace here, and then we're going to go and pick up one of our most important weapons, the first colossal sword. We're going to be using the Morningstar mace soon as well, so what you want to do is make sure you level up your strength to 13 if you can.
Shall I turn? Let my hand share them with me. Your thoughts, your ambitions.
Follow the road northeast. A little sneaky sneak mission right now because we need to get to the back of this carriage. That's where the great sword is, but we don't want to alert the dogs. Okay, try and open the chest at least if you get noticed. That's half of the battle already. If you die, don't worry about it because there's a site of Marika right nearby to us, as you'll see now, because I did get caught. So we already opened the chest, so that's half of the battle. Now I just need to loot the sword. So here we go. There we go, got the great sword. Right, go back to the grey site that we just collected, and this time we're going to head south. There's a graveyard here, so collect some runes, they'll help us out later. And then we're going to collect the first and the most important Ash of War. This is the Flame of Redmane's Ash of War. See this scarab circling around here, that's what we need to kill and loot. It is a tough one, not going to lie, especially since we don't have any AoE spells this early on in the game, but I have faith, I'm sure you can do it. Just for a tip, just watch it first of all, see where it's going, and then try and get in its path as it's coming round for the second time. So nice, we've got that Ash of War now. So since we're using fire spells, we're going to go and grab Flame Grant Me Strength, which is just outside the castle up here. So if you follow me up this ramp, just be careful of the archer on the hill. Make your way around, and the incantation is going to be between two of these massive chariot fire breathing head things, so don't worry about dying, just grab the incantation and it's all good. So now we need to head real far to the south of Caelid. We're going to go east and we're going to join the road and we're going to follow it all the way down until we get to the church right at the bottom where the dragon is as well. So watch out for that. So just keep following it all the way down. There's the dragon. And when you find the map here, you want to then turn off to the right and head further south. There'll be a golden seed to pick up here, and then we're just going to keep going south until we get to the grey site. We're not going to do anything here at the moment, but we need this grey site for later on. So once we've done that, we're going to head back to the first step. We're going to go down and join the shoreline. So make your way to the edge of the cliff and find a good place to drop down safely. Run east down the shoreline and you'll notice an item just at the end near the waterfall. This is a gold pickled foul foot. This increases all runes gained by 30% for 3 minutes. When we get our runes later on, this is going to come in really handy. It's going to save us a lot of time. There is another one of these in Limgrave as well, so we're going to go and grab that now. So head over to the grey site here. Collect the runes and various items on the way. Go past these ruins here, you'll find a little cliff that's looking out onto the road below, and there's going to be another gold pickle foulfoot here. Now we need to head to the Church of Marika, so we're going to go down the hillside, keep heading east until you find the church. So in this church there's two really essential things. There's the physic flask, and there's a sacred tear which is going to allow you to increase the potency of your healing and FP flasks, which is very nice. Next we're going to head south into Mistwood. Once you come across the map location, turn left and go up to the minor Erd tree. There's going to be a few more crystal tears here, and it's the stamina one that's going to help us out. So far we've got the strength knot tier and stamina tier, so that's really good for our build. Seeing as though we're here, we're going to head further south to the fort, and we're going to get one half of the medallion and another golden seed. So just ignore all the enemies, jump around the troll. Once you've entered Fort Height, run up the stairs, go into the tower here and up the ladder. Just ignore all the enemies, don't worry about them. The most important item in here is the medallion left half. Now, we want to teleport back to the Church of Marika. If you can't teleport because you're in combat, just jump off the edge and kill yourself. Saves so much time. So once we're at the church, go north behind the church and follow the stream up until you reach the cliffside. There's going to be a waypoint there, and we're going to use it, and that'll take us to Caelid. Run down the cliffside here and pick up another golden seed, and then grab the grey site next to the bridge. Once you've got the grace, head back north and then take a right. Go right up to the edge of the cliff and find a safe place to drop down. And then follow the path south until you go across another bridge. Make sure you grab the grace here because we will be coming back later on. Next, take the spirit spring up the cliff and grab all these runes here because we're going to be using these soon. And then you should be able to see a minor Erd tree in the distance. Keep heading down the cliff side and go behind the minor Erd tree because there's another spirit spring here. Use the spring and then we'll be at Fort Faroth. This is where we're going to get our runes from this dragon on the right side here. So rest at the grace because you are going to die inside Fort Faroth. There's no way out once we've collected this item. Once you get inside, just run straight through. Don't stop for anything because these mobs are very high level. Once you get to the top of the tower, loot the chest and you'll find the medallion right half. Now I realised it's really dark here, so I've tried to brighten the image a little bit for you. Make your way across the rooftop and jump down the far right hole. We want to grab this rune at the edge of the platform, and when you turn around we need to jump over onto the other side, down another hatch, and then we're going to pick up Radagon's Soul Seal. It's a really handy item if you ever need to get an extra couple of levels just to wield something. The next part of the video is really important that you get it right, so please watch this part of the video first before you do it. Equip the Morning Star, make your way down to the White Dragon and start attacking its tail. Once the bleed procs, you're going to hit for 13,000 damage. Now once you've killed the dragon, quickly mount up and run back to the grace and use it. And what you'll notice is the dragon hasn't died, but you've got 65,000 runes. Now you can keep doing this over and over and over again, and I recommend that you do. It really depends how you want to play the game. Do you want to do it as quickly as possible? Is this like your third or fourth character? Or do you want to experience the playthrough properly but just get a bit of a head start? If you want a bit of a head start, I recommend you kill the dragon 3 times. Want to go further than that, then you can do it as many times as you want. But please note that the golden pickle foul foot only works when you actually kill the dragon. If you're doing this reset method, don't use your golden foul pickle foots because they won't give you additional runes. However many times you kill the dragon, just remember to use the golden foul pickle foot on the last kill. That will get you an additional 40,000 runes, so it'll make the final kill a juicy one. By the end of the video, with the equipment that we're going to be using, you're going to want to have 31 strength, 14 dexterity, and I recommend you get close to 20 vigor and 20 endurance. If you want to go higher than that, the soft cap for vigor is 45, and I would recommend you get about 30 endurance. Soft cap for strength is 55. Dexterity is purely based on what weapon you want to use, but those are the levels I would recommend you aim for, depending on how hard you want to grind this dragon. So once you've got all the runes that you want and you've got the levels that you want, you need to head back to the ruins, and we're going to pick up the whetstone keep from the cellar here, and that means we can now equip Ashes of War ourselves anytime we're at the grace site. So we're going to equip the greatsword and we're going to put the Flame of Redmane Ash of War on it, and then we're going to gather all the enemies together just to give it a little go. So as you can see in the video, I've herded everyone and I'm now using the Flame of Redmane, and you can see that it's doing quite decent damage. It's an AoE strike, it has really good range, and it's actually stance breaking the enemies that don't have shields, and even the enemies with shields are dying in 2 hits. This Ash of War is so strong because it hits so hard. You're able to stance break people in 1 or 2 hits. It's basically like hitting someone with a fully charged greatsword hit, and that's how you're able to break the stances of bosses so easily. So if that's not enough power for you, we're now going to go and level it up. So we should have a lot of smithing stones already, and if you've got some runes left over, you can level up your weapon to +3 at the Church of LA. But I'm going to level up a couple of weapons, so we're going to go to Limgrave Tunnels first, and we're going to collect all the smithing stones that we can. So the smithing stones in here look like little yellow ores that these mobs are mining. So just run past and steal them all. This is a good opportunity to get familiar with your new ability as well. See how much damage it's doing, see how far it spreads, see how far it travels. Really get to grips with it because you'll be using this a lot. So take your time in here, explore everything, pick up all of the smithing stones that you can find. There is a boss at the end. I killed him just to show you how overpowered this Ash of War is. So as you can see here, I've used it twice and I've already broken its stance. So once you've done in there, we're going to come back to the Church of LA and we're going to upgrade our greatsword to +3. If for any reason you do need more runes, on screen now is an example of how you can farm this metal ball that spawns in Caelid. If you just run off, it'll curve off the cliff, and when it dies, it'll give you 2,000 runes. You can just keep repeating this until you've got enough runes to level up or upgrade your weapons. We are about to kill something for 40,000 runes though, so if you're not desperate now, you could do this first and just keep that for a backup. If you haven't recognised where we are, we're at Leanne's Rise in Caelid, and you need to use the grey site and pass the time until night, because these knights only spawn at night time. If you run past him and aggro him, there's a little trick you can do to killing him very easily. So you need to run up this path, make sure the Black Knight is following you. The easiest way to know that he is following you is you can see that he's poisoned as well, because there's all these poison traps on the floor. When you get further enough away, he's going to lose interest, and because of a rendering issue, the bridge is actually going to disappear. So when the knight respawns on the bridge, he's going to fall through and kill himself. Then we get Bloodhound Step and 40,000 runes for free. Use the runes to upgrade your lance to +3 and your greatsword if you haven't already, and then get a couple of extra levels if you like. We're actually going to go and get the second Ash of War, which is Fire Strike. So head back to the grey site that we got earlier, hug one side of the bridge until you see the missiles incoming, and then dodge over to the right side. There's going to be a few ballistas, so climb up the rocks here to stay safe, and then jump over the fence here. And then you want to make your way around the castle wall. Just ignore all the enemies and all the bats here. And then when you get to the top, mind the gap, and then you'll end up in this graveyard. There's going to be a scarab here, and that's what we want to kill to get the Flaming Strike Ash of War. Now I'm going to give you an example of the weapons we've got and why they're useful. So the lance is a really good poke weapon. It's got a good roll catch. If you put the Bloodhound Step on it, you can get in and out of the fight really easily, do a lot of damage and avoid enemies' attacks. So this is a really good weapon for staying safe, punishing enemies when you get the opportunity. Now, the greatsword with the Flame of Redmanes is amazing at stance breaking and doing high AoE damage. As you can see here, I can break the stance of this knight in just 2 hits, and he's a tanky boy with a shield as well. we've got our weapons, we've got our Ashes of War, let's put them to the test. As you can see, I've broken the stance of Margit in just 2 hits, and then we can go in with a critical. Basically, all you want to do is prioritize hitting twice or 3 times with the Ash of War. Use the lance to dodge, because you've got Bloodhound Step on there if you need it. But really, you just want to be aggressive with the Greatsword. So that was easy, that's Margit down. Now we're going to go kill Godric. Godric is a bit harder as a boss, but we can break his stance in 3 hits with this Ash of War. And if we summon Nefeli Lu as well, just makes the fight a breeze. He is more difficult and he's got some interesting combos, so make sure you just take your time and don't try and rush in and kill him as soon as possible. Just get the hits in when you can and you'll take him out nice and easily. There you go. Already very, very strong. I'm not going to use the remembrances for a weapon from Godric, so that's an extra 20,000 runes right there, which is really nice. And because we love to be more powerful, it's never enough, is it? So we're going to go and get the +5 Faith Talisman, which is going to allow us to cast Flame Grant Me Strength, which gives you a physical and fire damage buff of 15% each, and it lasts for 30 seconds. So head out the back of the castle, head down here. Follow the path north until you see these enemies patrolling. Get familiar with your weapons. I've put the Flame Strike on the lance now so you can see how that works. If you hit them with the first attack, it is a true combo, so you'll always hit the second. This works in PvP as well, so it's really nice in PvE and PvP. So once you've cleared out the ruins, we're actually going to head down into the secret area here. There's no aggressive mobs down here, so just loot the chest and you'll get the talisman. Since we've got 2 talisman slots now, I'm going to be using the Stamina Turtle and the Faith Talisman. Now we just need to go back to the Round Table Hold and buy the seal so we can actually cast the spell. You can buy armor from here as well and other weapons if you wanted to try them out. Now we're going to do some damage testing. So with the buff, we're doing about 280 damage each hit. Nearly 600 in that combo, so we're already really strong. Got the Bloodhound Step, which I've now put on a dagger, so you can use your greatsword and then switch to a very light weapon with Bloodhound Step on, just to get out of the way of the enemies. This is a really useful tactic in PvP as well, so you don't have to have it on your main weapon, but you can wield something light. If something goes wrong, you can just get out of there. So when we used Flame of the Red Mains before, we were hitting about 96-ish, but now we're buffed and we've got weapon upgrades. We're now hitting into the 200s and we're stance breaking enemies in 2 hits. You want to use a Colossal Greatsword because I believe it makes the Ash of War hit as if you're hitting with the Greatsword. So if you were to put this Ash of War on a weaker weapon, you wouldn't get the same stance break effect. Now, the Flaming Strike, you can put that on a lot of different weapons, but what you really want is a weapon with good reach. So again, you want to use the Lance or a Halberd, so you can get strong hits with good range when you're using the Flaming Strike Ash of War. I'm gonna throw an unpopular opinion at you. I don't actually like the Greatsword that much. So I'm going to show you a location for another colossal sword called the Zweihander, which I think looks amazing. It's going to have the same stance break effect, and this is where you can pick it up. You want to go south of Limgrave into the lower half of the map and go to the isolated merchant shack. He's going to sell you a couple of useful things actually. He's going to sell you the Zweihander, he's going to sell you the Lost Ashes of War, which allows you to duplicate the ashes we just picked up so you can put them on different weapons for different scenarios. He's also going to sell you some smithing stones, which is handy for leveling up these other weapons that we're getting. The next weapon that I'm going to be using Flaming Strike on is a great sword from Caelid called the Flamberg. Basically, this sword looks incredible again. It's got a really fancy blade edge, which causes a bloodloss build-up effect as well. So we're just insanely strong at this point. To get the Flamberg, come back to where we picked up the Flaming Strike Ashes of War and climb up the ladder here. If you're sneaky, you won't attract the attention of the bats, so you'll be able to get up no problem. Then you need to sneak around the guards, walk down the stairs here, and then jump onto the wall. You can then safely roll down, then take a right and go inside this building, climb the ladder, and you'll find an enemy at the top. You can either kill him, or you can just run straight past him and pick up the weapon. As you can see in the video, it was fairly easy to kill for me, and that is the Flamberg. Those are the weapons that I'm going to use, so you've got a few options now. If you go to the Lakes of Leonia and head into this cave here, you'll be able to get the Miner's Bell Bearing number 1, which allows you to buy smithing stones 1, 2 and 3 from the Maiden Husks. So if you're not sure what weapon you want to use, you want to level them up and do some testing for yourself, then I recommend you go and get that Bell Bearing, and then you can test them out until you find the one that's suitable for your playstyle. I hope you have fun with the build. I'm really loving it, to be honest. I loved it so much on my main character that I made a full guide about it, so that's how good they are. I made a strength build for PvP specifically, and I found that these were the Ashes of War that I was using the most. They're really reliable in all situations. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching the video. Please think about giving it a like or subscribing if you want to see more content like this. I've already done an arcane build, so if you want to make another character and do the exact same that we've just done but with a really strong build for arcane, I suggest you check that out. I'm going to leave it on the end credits of the video so you can go and see. That's a two-parter and it's much more in depth, but otherwise I hope you enjoy the playthrough with this build, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers!